Hello, Cave Dwellers. Today, me and Liv are going to be breaking down our top 5 movies of 2024 so far. With that said, Liv, what is your number 5 movie you've seen in 2024?
In 2024, my number 5 movie is The Idea of You, starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galabala.
The rom-com.
Yeah, the rom-com.
Okay. So what did you like about
Capital
this movie?
rom minus com.
Or really, I feel like we should say, like, what are your criteria and why are you picking this movie as number 5?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that, Patrick, and did not steal that question from me. I think what makes a movie good and in a top 5 when it comes to making a list is rewatchability. Am I going to rewatch this movie? Am I going to sit down on the couch and be like, oh my God, Netflix added this and turn it on? What else? What about you? Because I have a few other things.
I think rewatchability is important, but also
this is personal too.
The first watch is really important because it's when you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I like that less than you.
You don't really care about knowing what's going to happen.
I love knowing what's going to happen.
I think shock and suspense and excitement of like what just happened is really exciting though.
Yeah, you can still have the journey and know the destination.
Yeah, but I think both are important.
I agree. Okay.
So what is it about this movie that
yes.
so good?
And I wrote this down because I knew I would forget. How much I recommend the movie to other people. So if I watch a movie and I don't think to bring it up to people or I tell people not to watch it, it's probably not going to make the list.
I feel like that's a good way to structure your did I like this?
Yeah. And I just came up with that 10 minutes ago. So don't take it too seriously. Your reasons can be whatever you want them to be. But I went to work the next day and I talked to all the middle-aged mothers about The Idea of You. And the ones who've seen it, we really kikied together. Like, that was a fun lunchroom day.
Okay, it was a fun one to talk about.
Yeah, it was a fun one to talk about.
Cool.
And I really like rom-coms, and you saw me. I was really excited. I cried. I smiled. It was such a happy ending. And it was so, like, stupid that I thought it was incredible.
I feel like it was a rom-com done well, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't calm. It was more rom.
It was totally just a romantic
It was more
movie.
of like
that's a good point.
A
romance?
With rama. Romance drama? A rom-dram.
Okay, sure.
A rom-dram. New genre.
I like that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you have to say, or should we move on?
No, I mean, it's number 5 for a reason. It was good. It was good enough to make the top 5, but
and
it's not in the top 3.
6 months of movies out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And also, we are only really talking about movies that came out this year. So we did do an episode on Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
But we're not including it because it didn't come out this year.
Also, some of our picks are movies that we haven't talked about on this podcast.
Right, because we started it.
Most of them came out before we started this podcast.
Yeah, so we started in May. We started in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 3 months into the year already.
Sure. So anyway, my number 5 spot is the movie we actually just watched on and we did our podcast on, which is A Quiet Place Part 1.
Whoa, all right.
I really enjoyed it. And I guess my criteria is really a lot about the first experience. I'm not a huge movie rewatcher because I really like the cinema experience. I like that first time around. And this movie was like just a very fun ride. It was well paced. There's one issue that I had with this movie that I wanted to put it higher. I thought it might be in my top 2.
And Patrick, what is the issue?
The issue with this movie was that it didn't dive into the lore of the monsters as much. I talked about this on the podcast a little bit. I think the characters were really well done. The tense moments were great. It was lots of action. But when you preface your movie as like day 1, and it's really, as you said at the very start of the podcast, like it's day 1, 2, and 3.
Well, like you're not going to have, I think they kind of set themselves up with a trap because you're not going to have lore after day 1.
It's true.
Like, you need time to figure them out.
That's a good point.
However,
but
they did sell it like day 1, know the lore. learn the
They
lore.
did. They did.
Yeah.
And like what happened on day one. And you don't even really find out what happened on day
We
one.
don't really see it.
Okay, they blew up the bridges. That was cool. But for the most part, I just felt like you didn't really get a lot of information. And it was more just two characters dealing with the monsters, which is a lot of what we saw in the other two movies. So I really liked it.
That's true.
Yeah. Right? Like I really liked it and I like that universe, but it is enough to crack into my top 5, but not quite enough to really
make it up there.
Yeah, to be a top 2.
Top 4 is Furiosa.
Oh,
number 4 is Furiosa.
Okay.
Yeah. What's your number 4? Is it Furiosa? No? Okay, I'll talk about it. I don't know. It's pretty self-explanatory. Furiosa made the cut because that was my first experience into the Mad Max universe because I hadn't seen Fury Road before and I loved it. I love costuming. Like this is a big difference between movies that have realistic costumes like The Idea of You. I really liked what Anne Hathaway wore, but it's like I can try to recreate that. You can try to recreate Furiosa's costumes, but like it's not my style.
Yeah.
I don't want to yuck anyone's yum.
I think
but it's not my style and I like makeup and I like dramatics and special effects and all that.
Furiosa got way more hate than it deserved.
Oh my God, Bombshell.
Dude, like why are you so mad at this movie? It's a good ride.
I think that the internet has made I think the internet is great because like we're doing this now. You can share your opinion and that's awesome. But I also think we have this hump that we have to get over of people thinking that if you're going to be critical about something, then you have to not like it. Like you can be critical about something and really like it at the same time. I don't know. I just feel like people are really jumping on things that they didn't like.
Yeah.
Or seeing a good take about why something was bad and really latching onto it.
Yeah.
Without forming their own opinion.
Oh, that's super true.
Which like you can agree with someone, but it's also important to take a step back and think like, did I like this or not? Because I think about movies I watched as a kid. I just freaking sat down and watched them.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, and you know what? I didn't like Cars. I can't tell you why I didn't like Cars. I just didn't like it. Still don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really liked other movies. I don't know. I really like Tarzan, you know? I don't know.
I think that's like a big thing is that people put they forget that the point of seeing movies is to enjoy it.
Yeah, and to have fun.
And they prioritize being a critic to feel smart over just the enjoyment of
and you can have your
film.
opinion. You just need to know that it's not a fact. It's your opinion.
Yeah.
And come at it with some humbleness. Because sometimes when I find myself in the trap of
humility.
Humbleness. Humbleness.
You
the trap.
Took that word on with humility.
When I find myself in the trap of being too critical about something, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, I remember. I don't know anything about making a movie.
You gotta remind yourself that.
You don't know. And again, it's okay not to like something and think, wow, the lighting of this movie just made me feel weird. Or, wow, I really loved the lighting of this movie. Like, that's okay. But sometimes I find myself being like, oh my God, why was it like that? Because I'm going on such a rant. I'm sorry. But this is so fun. I've seen a lot of tweets because Twitter is the place of knowledge of people comparing the lighting between Dune and the Mad Max movies. And Dune is less, it starts with an S, saturated. And Dune is much more saturated. And
Mad Max is saturated.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Dune is much less saturated and Mad Max is much more saturated. And people are like, oh my God, what if they did Dune in the same saturation as Mad Max? It would have made it so much better, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you can think that, but I think people are forgetting that these are extremely successful directors and they're making an artistic choice on purpose down to the lighting.
Yeah, there's a vision.
Everything you just have to assume is on purpose when it comes to these blockbuster hits. And the not blockbuster hits, they just have less of a budget.
Sure.
And you can still not like the lighting, but you have to remind yourself that everything's done for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. My number 4 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
So
wait a second. I really liked Furiosa. I feel like I didn't get to talk about it.
you had your chance.
I know, but I feel like I didn't get to say why I liked it.
Well, you were too busy you're too busy yapping. We're on to my number 4 now.
I'm so sorry.
Too bad. You
just said that it's gotten more hate, and then I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And it has gotten too much hate, and I really liked it. Okay, your turn.
So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is just a movie that was
It's just a movie.
better than it needed to be.
I hope someone needs to take that out. It's just a movie. Better than it needed to be.
It's just better than it needed to be. Yeah, like I wasn't expecting it to be banging, but I feel like that whole series of the new ones are I don't know what it is about those movies. I just like wouldn't expect them to be that good.
No.
But it was a really fun world to dive into. I think that was what really stuck with me, is just watching the characters explore this world, and you're learning all this information.
Got me excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm very interested in what the next movie will be and what will happen. And I think it did a really well job. It exceeded my expectations. The characters were really fun. I enjoyed the villain a lot. I enjoyed the main character. It was fun watching him kind of grow into himself a little bit.
The evil
Noah.
guy? Klondikekiss?
Yeah, Roman something. And honestly, there were a lot of great characters in that movie.
Yeah.
I liked the main female as well. So overall, it just impressed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's number 4.
That one didn't make it in my top 5.
I think that's super fair.
And it's because I think the next one is going to spark some debate.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. It technically came out in 2023,
Okay.
but it came out, I think, 9 days before 2024.
Okay.
And I cannot stop thinking about it, so I had to include it in my top 5 because we saw it in 2024, and I just thought it was teetering on the edge. And I thought maybe we could break the rules of a system we created.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Do you think you know what it might be?
I don't.
Do you want me to say it or give you hints?
I'd like you to say it.
Darn it. Okay. Iron Claw.
Oh, wow.
If you haven't seen Iron Claw with our sweet love, Zac Efron, you just need to see it if you like movies.
Dang, that's a really good take.
I could not leave that out of this list.
It so counts, and I'm so happy that you included it.
I have a just in case list
because
too.
I just went through the list of movies that released this year.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not counting that.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you did, because that movie was phenomenal.
I went through my Letterboxd. So I keep track.
Yeah.
Which I will link my account to eventually. It's just not very good. Anyway. And yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, we saw that after Christmas. We must have, anyway, it doesn't matter. It just came out. I just knew it was really close to the new year. So I looked it up and I was like, we have to include it. I just was so surprised. I had never heard about the I don't know what their name was, but I had never heard of this fighting family, and then this movie introduced you to it and kept out parts to make it more believable because the actual story is less sad.
It was more sad.
Sorry, a whole other brother, and it just caught me so off guard, and it was so fun to see Zach show his capabilities of being a serious actor, because he's in a lot of comedies. Like he's in Baywatch, High School Musical. There's others. Hairspray, which is such a fun one. But I had to include it. I just can't believe that actually happened. The family dynamic, the mom, the frickin' dad.
Yeah, that was easily
the best ending I've ever seen. One of the best endings I've ever seen.
It did have a great ending.
With the kids.
A good real ending.
Yeah.
The Von Erichs.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, the Von Erichs.
Yeah. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
Had I thought to include it, I probably would have, but it was 2023, so I didn't want to. But I'm so glad that one of us did.
Sweet.
Is that everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
Cool.
Thank you for asking.
My
What's your number 3?
Number 3 is actually Furiosa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Again, it got a lot of hate. If there's anything else you want to say here, this is the chance. But what
This
I
is the
will
moment.
say is I think that it's just a fun movie. Like,
It is.
people, I don't know, like, oh, this movie didn't need to be made. It's like, no, I agree.
Then why does any movie need to be made?
No, like, I get where they're coming from, that
Oh.
it's kind of late to make this movie. Like, you should have probably made this movie in like 2018,
Oh.
2016 even.
No.
It's is a little late, I will agree.
Right. Okay.
But
All right.
I just had a good time watching this movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. It's a fun world, though. I think I love a good world. I think that's what I'm realizing
just
about
Australia.
my top 5. Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's just fun. I had a
Yeah.
good time. So
Yeah,
there's really not much like, the character development. Yeah, I thought the ending
I think it makes
I don't
Fury
know.
Road way better.
I agree. I
Like,
totally agree. Rewatching Fury Road was so fun with all that back knowledge.
Yeah, like I can't imagine, well, because I didn't experience it, but I can't imagine a world where Fury Road exists without Furiosa.
Totally.
Like, it's cool that you see how this woman loses a quarter of her arm.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cool. Like Mad Max had that little cameo in it.
Ooh. Dude, it's like the people that are like, oh, we didn't need to see how she lost her arm are probably the same people that are like, why didn't like the new House of the Dragon episode have a battle? You know, it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
You're looking for something to be upset about at that point.
It was fun.
Don't just close your eyes and it never happened. Just be like, she lost her arm. I didn't see it.
Do you know what your number 2 is?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because it's like the second best movie this year. I'd hope you would remember what it is.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to say ours at the same time?
Okay, I like that.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
3.
Oh, wait, on go? Or you just go 3, 2, 1, and then I say it?
3, 2, 1, then we say it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, Dune.
Civil War.
Whoa.
Damn.
It's the same thing. No. So mine's Dune,
Okay.
which means I think I know what your number 1 is going to be.
It's not what you think. But let's see.
Did Dune not make your list?
Liv, we're on number 2.
I'm sorry. Okay. My number 2 is Dune. Man. Oh, man. This is low, but there are some hot people in that movie, and they're fighting, and I liked it. Like, the entire time, seeing it in IMAX was such a fun experience. My mouth was like, just dropped the entire time. The music was so good. It was loud, and some people hated how loud it was. Freaking loved how loud it was. Take me into that world and get me there. Man, it was good. And the choreography in like the fighting scenes was just felt so believable, and it didn't go on forever. Oh, it was so good. And the costumes, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's such a world.
It's such a world.
You leave that movie and you're like,
Holy.
oh yeah, right, I live on Earth.
Yeah.
I'm not on Arrakis.
I'm not on, thank God. So creepy and so like allegorical to like the real world.
I found the Harkonnens like such good like group villain.
Man, they were silly
so
when they were
spooky.
flying around.
Oh, the Baron.
Oh, the Baron.
The guy
I'm
in
sorry,
his-
I'm not.
The guy in his like
No, that scene where they're flying up on the mountain. They have their little like jetpack joy rides.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, that looks fun. But yeah, it was spooky. It was scary. It made so many good memes online. I love when that happens.
Yeah, and that's a sign of a good movie. Like
Yeah.
you get a few memes out of that bad
Yeah.
boy.
And I didn't have faith in Timothy Chalamet. I didn't. But man, when he walked up those stairs to deliver the speech, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, boy can cook. Boy can cook.
Much better Paul Atreides than Willy Wonka. Let's say that.
We haven't really
We've seen enough of Willy Wonka. It's probably not even a bad movie.
We've seen like 5 minutes of it.
No one is
on a
Willy
cruise.
Wonka, but like Gene Wilder, I think.
It's true.
It's just weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your number 2?
It is Civil War.
Oh, yes. Wow,
Yes.
I forgot that quickly.
So wait, Iron Claw was an A24.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's my A24.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Civil War was such a goddamn good movie. It just okay. I thought so. You've got America Civil War. That's like a parallel universe that seems really realistic in given the climate of America right now. Like we're Canadians, but we're there.
Yeah.
I can see that. Like it's not likely, but it's like yeah. It feels a little bit real.
Part of me feels like it's truly happening right now because with the turn of the internet,
Sure, like
wars are going to look different.
Yeah.
Soft launch.
So that was really cool. It's a great premise. I loved the way they told the story, which was from the press.
Yeah.
It actually made the most sense to do it that way. I think you could have told the story from like a family.
Yes.
And it's been done. I loved that they did it through the press. It made it a lot more realistic for them to just be able to
and not
travel
doing it
through.
from Soldier.
That too. Such a unique perspective on it.
God, it was scary.
But a unique perspective that does see everything.
Yeah, literally.
And you're not dealing with like I'm an American killing my fellow patriots. Like it's just like me objectively observing and recording what is going on.
Yeah.
So that was really cool way to frame the conflict. I found I think it did a good job with this is framing violence.
Yes.
The gunshots were so loud that it was unnerving and actually kind of hard on the ears.
Yeah, I cried so many times.
It was intense.
It was really intense.
I feel like I haven't seen a movie that has such...
It just felt really realistic.
Yeah.
There was no Hollywoodization of it.
No.
Like when people die, they're dead.
Yeah, you're shot in the heart and you just fall over. You're shot in the head, you fall over and you're dead.
Yeah.
And it just...
And you don't have time to like...
of an eye.
Yeah, and you don't have time to sit next to the person and like say goodbye. There is none of that because that's not real.
It's just... It was
you're dead.
Raw violence, unfiltered. I think they did a really good job with
and the
that.
whole narrative of trying to get the shot. Like the press trying to get that shot. Man... And who's that guy? Jesse Plemons?
Oh my god!
Oh my
So the
God.
guy with the red glasses, he's in Breaking
Him and the
Bad.
main character
He's
woman are
other stuff.
married.
Oh, that's really crazy.
Yeah, or together.
Dang,
Anyway.
I didn't know that. Dude, that movie just went so hard. It was
that
just so
scene.
good.
Oh
And
my
I know
God.
it's not in your top 5, but
I actually, thinking about it now, I'm putting that into my 5 spot.
oh wow,
I'm kicking the idea of you and I'm putting that into my 5.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we're not including Iron Claw, then everything's moved down and
Sure.
idea of you becomes 5.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because thinking back, holy
It was
crap,
good.
that was so good.
I know it made you cry, so I was like, maybe she doesn't like it, but I respect it either way.
I like
5
having
or
a
6,
reaction.
whatever.
Every movie makes me cry. I cry in every single movie now. I don't know what's going on. I used to be
Okay.
numb.
Liv.
5.
I want to talk about my number 1 before we get to yours,
Wow. Okay. Jeez.
because my number 1 is in fact Dune. So I thought it would be boring to end on that. We've still got your number 1. I also loved Dune though, so I kind of agree with everything
Why
you
is
said.
it your number 1? It's the best movie you've seen this year.
It's just the world. It was so fun to just fall into that and just see stuff happen.
True.
Enough that I like decided to read the book, and I'm actually reading it this time around.
He is reading it.
But I don't know. I have so much more to say about Civil War, but I just enjoyed Dune more.
That makes sense.
like
that's
such
okay. It can be that simple.
Such
Doesn't
a
have to be
rich
intense.
world.
Yeah. Crazy
Good
cast.
good acting.
Yeah.
But it's just that world. Like I said, I left the theater and I had to remind myself I live on planet Earth, not Arrakis.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, right.
Right.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that's what I love in a movie is just
Take me
getting
out of reality.
totally lost in a new world. I
Yeah.
just find that to be the most fun, interesting. So, yeah, I have so much good to say about Civil War. We didn't even get to talk about it because it came up before we started this podcast, but I think that was an incredible movie. Maybe artistically, critically better than Dune 2, but Dune 2 was the movie that I enjoyed the most.
What does that
this
even
year.
mean?
Exactly. So,
That's not. If we were making a top 5 of artistry in movies, then maybe we'd have to consider that. But we are not.
yeah,
We are
it's
doing
great.
our own top 5 and our own opinions. And we are right. There is no other answer.
Excellent.
Haha.
And what is your objectively correct answer to the best movie released in 2024?
Yeah. That's your hint number 1. Do you need another hint?
No,
Ugh.
I know what it is. Give it to him.
It was Challengers.
I knew it was going to be Challengers.
I feel that it was so fresh. I have seen many a sport movie. I have seen many a romance. I've never really seen a throuple. Well, maybe a quadruple with a sport being part of it. I think I just thought it was so fresh.
There's nothing like Challengers. It was such a unique movie.
Have never, man, that bombshell ending with the ball in the triangle, that, oh man, the soundtrack. Oh, it was just so cool. All the different shots and I loved it. And that is my number 1. I was so excited to see it. And sometimes when I'm excited to see things, I get my expectations too high and then I'm let down. It was so much better than anything I could have expected. And it's fun seeing Zendaya like not play a kid.
Totally. Our top movies both have Zendaya in it.
Well,
That's
of course
funny.
they do. I guess she doesn't play a kid in Dune, but whatever.
Yeah. No,
I
so respect that opinion. It
Yeah.
wasn't in my top 5, but I
Yeah.
thought it was a great movie.
It will be.
Wow, that was.
I kind of just meant I'm gonna have it on so much you're gonna be watching it all the time.
I see.
I loved that they went through different phases of their lives and they showed it through cutting of hair, not like AI-ifying their faces and stuff. Like, we don't have to do
really
that.
clear.
You can show that someone's younger by the way they dress.
Totally.
So simple.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think there was some real zinger lines, like that one with Zendaya saying, you're 31, you'd have a better chance putting a shotgun in your mouth.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So cutthroat. Oh, it was so good. And I loved it.
Yeah. All right.
That's
Top
it.
5 movies of 2024 so far.
So
Wait
far.
and subscribe for December to get the top 10.
Whoa. We would love to hear some of your top movies of the year.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
all we have for you.
Thanks.
No.
Did you like to say why we're not doing a podcast this week?
Oh, no single movie this week because Patrick and I will be in a place of Austin this weekend. We are traveling. We are vacationing. And maybe we'll have a doubleheader the following week.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Patrick is dying to see Despicable Me 4, so...
No one wants to hear our review of it, though, but it's fine.
I do.
All right. Bye, guys.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.